The new Battlefield game is cooking. Welcome back, my name is Ace. Leave a like and subscribe, and let's deep dive into this thing together. I was on my Twitter today and I saw a post from Battlefield, and they don't post often, anything honestly, other than some event about Battlefield 2042, and they say, tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. CET and 8 a.m. PDT for more on the upcoming Battlefield community testing programs, and on top of that they attached the new concept art image. Let's get over the concept art image first because it could hint at what type of a setting the next Battlefield game might have. So as you see on the screen, they present a type of a Middle Eastern picture. I would say that this looks like something from Desert Storm. For one reason, the tank we are seeing on the screen is an M1 Abrams, not M1A2, not M1A3, or the current M1A4. Looks like the one of the first Abrams tanks, which is also present in the game you're watching on the screen right now, Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 is another game that was set in the Gulf War era, Desert Storm era, and so on. So is this potentially them hinting out at the next Battlefield game being in the style of Battlefield 3? Or is it going to be something more fictional like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 2042? You know, some fake war that never happened, but, is inspired by Modern Warfare. Now, we know for sure that they already confirmed that the next Battlefield game is for sure going to be a modern setting, but we never saw some confirmation of it. Now, the new concept art, as I mentioned, is showing some type of Desert Storm-esque setting. Interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Would you want the game to be more in Battlefield 3 style, have, some warfare that happened before, Desert Storm, Gulf War, whatever? Or would you want something fictional, or do you just don't give a shit and you just want a good game? Honestly, I'm more of the third setting. I would prefer a Desert Storm game just because I'm biased towards Battlefield 3. But the latter, like, the third option, I don't give a shit what it is. As long as it's a good game, also works with me, no problem. The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that they're offering already concept art here. They're inviting people for a possible playtests, and they're all revealing things about the game on February is crazy. I was there during Battlefield 3 reveals and marketings. I played Battlefield 3 Alpha, I played BF4 Alpha, BF1 Alpha, BF5 Alpha, Battlefield 2042 playtest, all of them, and they all came, relatively closer to launch. This is like nearly like the game is coming out allegedly in late November. If it's not delayed, and they're already inviting people for playtests. Now, we knew that already. They already said they're gonna push big playtests. What we didn't know, or I didn't know at least, is that those playtests are happening this early, in February. That's incredible. Now, in my experience with DICE, this could be two things. One, they might be very confident with the map and the game mode and, what they have prepared for that playtest. If this is a playtest that's coming up tomorrow, announcement for a playtest that's coming out later, that could mean they're very confident. I hope they're confident. If they're very confident in the map they want to showcase to the people, that's probably going to be the flagship map. When I played the BF3 Alpha, it was Metro, BF4 Alpha was Siege of Shanghai, Battlefield 5 was Narvik, BF1 was San Quentin Square, and so on. And those were kind of like, I guess, their flagship maps, at least for the vanilla maps coming into. And they might be very confident. That map we are seeing here on the concept could very well be some type of a map coming into the playtest. So that's very exciting, at least in my opinion. And then we also know, or I heard rumors, but I know it, sorry, I rephrased that incorrectly. I've heard people saying they'll be getting emails from EA into their email about a possible playtest happening on the 8th of February. I mentioned this to some of my other colleagues and I talked with some other people. I tried to figure out if somebody of my circles received such an email, but they didn't, and I didn't receive it either. And this is the reason I never made a video about those possible emails, because I just couldn't confirm that thing. If you're one of the people who got that email, please show yourself in the comment section so maybe you can give us some information what type of an email this was. Is this an email for a playtest about the Battlefield game? Are they playtesting something else? Let us know. It would be very nice to understand why they're inviting us so early, what's happening with the game. If I had to put my 2 cents here, I would guess that the playtest is going to be 32 versus 32 man Conquest on this one map they're going to present, because the other playtests were also generally Conquest, although BF3 was a little bit different. We actually played Rush there, so that's a little bit different. But here, it's going to be Conquest, because also the Mr. Zampella last year mentioned that they want to focus on 64-man Conquest in the next Battlefield game, so I guess they want to playtest it here. So I'm not sure if we're going to get Breakthrough or the other modes in playtests, but I would probably be sure that it's going to be Conquest only. How do you feel about Conquest? I have made a video recently talking about Conquest. I said that maybe it's a little bit outdated, that I prefer Breakthrough, so I'm not sure how I feel about the return of Conquest as like the flagship game mode, if that's what's going to happen with Battlefield 6. How do you feel about Conquest? Let me know in the comment section. I would really like to read your thoughts about Conquest. See if perhaps you share my opinions as well. When I was reading this tweet, I was like, oh fuck, there's pretty big news for the next Battlefield playtest coming up. And I was like, you know what? I don't have footage of Battlefield, and I knew that it would be crime against humanity to have Delta Force gameplay on a fucking Battlefield video. So I hopped in and I found Battlefield 3 server in 2 seconds, and I found this Sharky Peninsula so I can gather some footage for you guys. And I had people asking me on some of my older Battlefield 3 videos from a couple of months ago, why am I playing on this account that's only like level 30? There's a few reasons. A couple of years ago, I heard that people were getting hacked on Batlog, and the hackers were resetting their stats on Battlefield 3. And back then, I just didn't want people resetting my account that has like 3,000 hours in Battlefield 3 and collected every achievement and so on. So I just bought the Smurf for like €1 a long time ago, and it was just sitting there for years. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use this. And you know, I leveled tanks, I leveled out here. I'm leveling the LV as well, and so on. That's why I'm playing on an account, because the hackers were resetting the stats on Batlog back then. And if you still play Battlefield 3, if you play on your main account, let me know. If I can log into my main, perhaps I'm gonna play on my main. I don't know, this was an issue way back then. But this is generally the news about like the new Battlefield game. How do you feel about the new Battlefield game in general? Like, are you excited at all about it, or are you just, you know, super indifferent and you just, you know, you're like, whatever, if they release a decent game, it's gonna be fine. If not, I'm just gonna keep playing some other games. I'm gonna keep playing Delta Force, I'll keep playing Apex, or whatever, you know, your first person shooter of choice is. I personally think that this is probably like the saving grace, if of course it's a good game, for probably the combined arms genre, honestly. Because Battlefield 2042 sucked. Delta Force, it has potential, but it has a lot of problems that's not getting fixed. I'm not gonna go into that rabbit hole. But you understand what I mean, right? And this might be like the one less game where we might not have all the modern gaming crap all over it. It sounds promising, and if they always said they're gonna follow the old Battlefield formula, and you know, the old Battlefield formula is, you know, Conquest 32 versus 32 with, you know, no SBMM, with no bots, and none of this other shit. So hopefully that's gonna be the case. I hope the map, the flagship map, is going to be very good. I think this first impression when people log into this playtest, whoever's going to be, you, me, or whoever the hell, the map needs to be good. They need to be impressed how the map looks. The graphic need to be good as well. I generally don't care about graphics when I play first-person shooters. I put everything on low. But I think having a very unique-looking map, immersive map with good graphics, with good sounds, with good ambient noise, is going to be very important for people to have a positive first impression of the game. So I hope they nailed that, at least that first impression. Then of course the gameplay, we're gonna see what they cooked up there, how good the vehicles are, how playable the infantry is everything kind of balanced, though the balance we can fix later of course, but the first impression is gonna be the main thing about this playtest. I remember my first impression of Battlefield 1 was excellent when I played San Quentin Scar on Alpha. I didn't like Battlefield 1 as a game for some other reasons at the time, but I was impressed how the game looked. I was equally impressed by Siege of Shanghai that even had no textures back then. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.